Hi, my name is Dan from EFC,
My name is Luis. I'm with EFC.
and today we are here to talk about time management, especially prioritization. So first, let's kind of talk about why is time management so important, right? So like when we really think about it, sometimes we get caught up in the chaos of assignments piling up, family things that we have to do, dinners that we have to attend, birthday parties or activities. Like sports is a huge one, right? And things really just get really overwhelming. Things get really stressful. And time management is one of the tools that we can really use to get all that under control. Luis, can you talk a little bit about why time management is so important?
I think there are two essential areas that time management impacts pretty much everyone. One is that level of stress and anxiety that you have. And that means simply if you've got so many things to do, you can either freak out about it or you can take a minute, look at it and say, okay, how can I get this done? Making sure that I get it done not only in time, but getting it done well. So if you can have a plan, then you're going and you can stick to your plan, then you're just going to feel a lot more relaxed about it and you're going to do whatever you're supposed to be doing better. Now, the other thing is it's a great step on the path to success, whether the success is academic, at work, just being with people in general, because if you manage your time well, let's say that big paper is coming on, if you've got your time management set, then guess what? You can take every step, do it well. You're not rushing. You're not making silly mistakes. You produce better quality, and that means that people are going to, one, like what you're doing, give you better grades, think more highly of you, and that's half the journey to success right there.
Yeah, and what we want to keep in mind is that time management introduces structure into an unstructured environment. And let me take some time to really explain that, right? So a lot of the times what causes us anxiety, what causes us overwhelmed, and what causes us so much stress is not that the thing that we're about to embark on is super challenging. It's more of the assignment that we're about to embark on. We don't really know how to tackle it or how to make it manageable. And the unstructuredness of that, or the chaos of that, or the mystery of that, or the unknown of that causes us so much stress and anxiety. And so when we use time management and introduce structure into that unstructured environment, we kind of solve the issue of the unknown. And when we know something more, things become more manageable. So let's actually dive into what we are actually talking about when it comes to structure. So there's really three main components. There's the timeline, there's the steps associated to it, and the last one is how much dread and anxiety does it actually cause us? Let's have Luis talk about the timeline really fast.
All right, timeline is pretty much what it sounds like. It's the order in which you get things done. You have a goal time. You know that something is due at 4 p.m. on Friday. Now you need to figure out how you're going to get all the steps done to get from nothing now to completed project on Friday. That's your timeline, is knowing Monday I do my research, Tuesday I do my outline, Wednesday I write a draft, Thursday I rewrite my draft, Friday, boom, it goes in. That's your timeline. On a bigger picture, you work it in even more by saying not only do you have this one project you've timelined out, you have those steps broken into or mixed in with other things that you've got to do. So you're able to keep your plan moving along just like it needs to be.
Yeah, and I think Luis also kind of talked a little bit about it, but let's emphasize why it's so important to understand the steps when it comes to a project or an assignment or anything in general when it comes to looking at how to prioritize something. So when we're able to take when something is due and break it down into little steps or chunk size manageable pieces, we're able to then plan it throughout the entirety of the week or plan it through the entirety of the day so that we don't have to tackle the entirety of that project at once. Taking that idea of chunking things out or taking those steps addresses our last part of structure. How dreadful is it, right? So like if something is super dreadful, it usually is very challenging. You're probably not that great at it, and it will take you a long time. But when we break it down into sizable chunks and sizable steps, what happens is that it becomes less challenging. Even though you're not good at it, you're taking it at a smaller step. So you are gaining more skill around it in a manageable time. And you're also not spending so much time on something that you're not that comfortable with. So it becomes less dreadful.
Let's add one thing here, and I think this is really important, is that dread is personal. Everyone dreads things that are different. I dread doing laundry. Some people dread the idea of being on a camera and having to do something like this. So don't put yourself in that trap of thinking, I'm silly to think this way. Acknowledge that you feel this way, and then try to work with it by working your timeline, breaking things down into steps. It is okay to feel that I've got to do this and I hate doing that, but just know that you're going to have to do it. So use your time management steps to make it as easy, dare I say fun, as is possible.
Yeah, and I think, what we also want to recognize is that, these are just tools that could work, and not every single tool that we're talking about is going to work for everybody. See which one is going to work and personalize it into your own schedule, and that's kind of what's going to lead you to success. So let's talk about the three different types of categories that we can look at when we're prioritizing something. So any project or any item can really fall into three categories. The first category is something that needs to get done as soon as we can, right? And then the second one is maybe it doesn't need to get done as soon as it needs to get done, but it's also fun. It's something that we enjoy that we can put in there so that we have kind of a productive break. And then the last thing is assignments or projects that can wait. Maybe it's not due on Monday, it's due on Friday. We need to be aware of it, but we don't need to absolutely get started on it right away because we have to prioritize the assignment that's due on Monday. And hopefully, if you're using these skills and strategies, you won't have to pick and choose which assignments that you have to get done.
And just to add on that and to build on that a little bit, you've got to be careful about one thing. When we say ASAP, it doesn't mean like now so much as it has a date certain. You have to have it done by this time. And so, yeah, that thing on Friday, maybe you don't have to deal with it on Monday. But don't fall into the trap of pushing it back until Thursday night, and all of a sudden it's panic time. That stress means you're not going to do a great job, and it means any effort you put in time management just hasn't worked for you. It doesn't matter. So don't fall into that trap. Make your plan. Know what you can do. Know it can wait, but don't fall into that swamp of putting things off to the last minute.
Yeah, because then you're going to get a huge pile of work to do on Friday, and that's never fun. Okay, so let's talk about the idea of, now that we've categorized each of these projects, right? Let's talk about the idea of stacking or chunking and layering all the different assignments and projects that you have to do. And in reality, what we want to say is we want to take these two categories. We want to separate into things that are kind of dreadful and cause anxiety and things that are fun, right? And then we want to chunk them out and then start combining and layering them in so that you have something that isn't as fun, something that's fun, something that isn't as fun, something that's fun. And this way, you give your brain some space to relax. You give us some examples of how you chunk in your own life.
Oh, gosh. So how do I chunk in my own life? Well, here's a great example, and I think this is one that a lot of people can wrap their heads around pretty easily. Let's say I've got a project I'm doing for work, but I've also got a bunch of laundry to do. So, yeah, I get up, go downstairs, put my laundry in, get back, sit at my desk, work on my project. Now that I'm doing laundry, every so often I have to get up, walk around, walk downstairs, get the blood flowing, change focus a little bit so that I can get my laundry done. Now, talk about productive breaks. At some point, the laundry is done. I've got to bring it up and fold it. So what do? I say, okay, it's going to take me 15, 20 minutes to fold all this stuff. So I'm going to put on an episode of something on Netflix. I know my favorite show lasts 24 minutes according to Netflix. Perfect. I get to watch one episode of this, which I really enjoy, while folding laundry, which I really hate. That's what we would call a productive break. And it could be anything. It could be like taking a quick walk. If you got a dog, go walk your dog for a little while. Dog needs to go out, expecting to go out. The dog has fun. You have fun. You recalibrate, reset, and you're going to be not only getting a task done, but reorienting yourself toward that big task. And that's going to be awesome.
Yeah. And so, really we want to just make sure that even though something isn't as fun, that we put in things that are fun so that we give our brain some space to rest. So let's kind of summarize everything. So the first thing that we talked about is that we want to remember to stay calm and introduce some structure into a chaotic environment. What does that mean? We want to look at the timeline. We want to look at the associated steps. And we really want to understand like how much anxiety is this really causing me? And if it's causing me so much anxiety, maybe I need to break it apart and layer it throughout my week or throughout my day. What is the second thing?
Well, we have three categories of things to do. One is what we call the ASAP, as soon as possible, which doesn't necessarily mean so much now, as it means this has to get done at a particular point in time. You do not have the option of putting it off past that point. Then you have things that are a bit more relaxed, a bit more fun. Laundry can be that thing. That's just kind of my go-to example. But really anything that needs to get done doesn't have to be done at a particular time and that you don't hate doing. And finally, there are the things that are more fun. And the more fun things can be just something that needs to get done that you enjoy. For example, just stopping by the coffee shop because you know that one guy works at the coffee shop. He's always good for a laugh. It could be something that is just walking your dog. Dog has to go out, but guess what? You're having a good time doing it. So those are your three categories: ASAP, fun, and the last category, it can wait. It needs to get done. I don't need to do it right now. I need to buy a spatula because I like to cook. I don't need to buy a spatula right now today, but I'm going to need one soon. So but that is, it can wait. So those are your three categories.
Yeah, and then we want to also make sure that we layer things in, we chunk things out, and we stack it up, right? And just remember that everybody works in different ways, and that when we're setting prioritizations and chunking things out, set expectations that are more realistic. Because the more positive reinforcement that you give yourself, the more chances of success that you're going to have. And just remember, you're only one person, one thing at a time. Keep it fun. Thank you.
Thank you.